Hello everybody. Are you looking for a video that can jumpstart your Warlock experience filled with tips, tricks, and everything you need to know to kick some butt?
Oh yeah.
Well, look no more. You found just the right video. Hey, what's up everybody? Today I'm gonna make a slightly longer video for you guys, and I'm gonna cover what you need to know when it comes to macros, keybinds, your damage rotation, and I'm gonna throw in a few tips at the end, so stick around for that. I want to start with my macros. For warlocks, there's two macros right off the bat that you're going to need to have no matter what for PvP, and those are your, of course, focus kick and focus command demon macros. I highly recommend having a keybind for your focus target. Mine is the dash right next to the 1. So when I click a target, I hit that and it automatically puts them on my focus. I use a lot of focus target spells. Mainly those two actually. not that many now that I think about it. But it is extremely useful, and actually not only for PvP, but for example, Mythic Plus fights. I can put if there's an encounter with two bosses or multiple bosses, whatever, I could put one on my target so I can kick or see the dot duration and have another one on my target. Same with for duels, world PvP, anything. It's very useful. I find myself using that in all kinds of content. Other macros, the gate macro is one that I highly recommend. What it does is when I hit it, cannot use my gate here for some reason in this city, but when I hit it, it casts the gate wherever I have my cursor set. And if I have my cursor way out there somewhere, all it's going to do is cast it in that direction at max range, which is 40 yards. So to do that, I will pull it up for you right here. There it is. All you do is you can put Shell Tooltip for your Demonic Gateway, and then you just do @cursor before you put Demonic Gateway, and that'll just cast it wherever your cursor's at. I also highly recommend doing this for Shadow Fury, and that is right here, same concept. And what it does is it lets you cast your Shadow Furies much quicker. Wherever you have your cursor, you just hit that keybind, and boom. You don't have to hit the keybind and then also click the ground. Save you a little bit of time, but I find it very useful. Okay, obviously you can, if you're an orc, you can combine stuff like trinkets and your orc racial with your dark soul. That's pretty much it. I don't have too many lavish macros. I can move on to keybinds now. Keybinds, you might see that I have a bunch of spells over here that look duplicated. Let me just say they're not duplicated. What it is I have the important spells. For example, Nether Ward here. That's just a regular Nether Ward, and below it here, this is Agony. And I make a macro and I put Show Tooltip Nether Ward, but /cast Agony. So let me show you right here. All I do is Show Tooltip Nether Ward /cast Agony. So all it does is show me the cooldown for Nether Ward. If I spec into it, boom. So it shows me Nether Ward right there. But if I hit that, it just does my regular Agony, because I don't need to see the tooltip for Agony. I know exactly what it does. It's instant, has no cooldown, so I can just use that slot to show me a more important cooldown like Nether Ward or Dark Soul or Fell Domination or Wall. I find it much easier to be able to keep track of my cooldowns. Keybinds, obviously you want to have everything that you use the most. So your main dots: Unstable, Affliction, Corruption, Agony. I have as 3, 4, 5. 1 is Drain Life. Very basic. I Also highly recommend, if you don't have it already, to keep everything center, everything that you need to have for arena. So your unit frames, your target, yourself, and your focus target, as well as your party, which I have right here when if I was in a party, and then your Gladius or S arena, which I have right here. And that way I have all of my important information right in the center field of vision, so I don't have to be looking. For example, if my unit frames were default, they would be up here. I don't have to look at my health here when I'm getting trained, and then all the way over here to check a cooldown, and then back to my party, and then back to a cooldown. It just wastes a lot of time, and you will miss a lot of important information if you play like that. So I highly recommend doing that. It will help you out a lot. Next, I will cover my damage and rotation. So, for example, let's pretend I am starting an arena, and this is a pillar. Let's say that these are 3 enemies. Let's say we're playing a little 3s game here. Enemy 1, 2, and 3. There we go. So, doors open. First thing I do is I get a gate at the pillar. Won't let me cast one here in the city, but imagine I drop a gate. Immediately after that, port. And then I want to run away from my port. That way I create distance if when people get on me, if I have to port, that'll give me time because they'll have to run to me, or they'll have to waste a cooldown like Shadow Step or Leap or Charge or something. So definitely want to do that. Now when it comes to damage, what I do is I always start with Corruption, Agony. I put that on a couple targets, unless I'm able to free cast right away for like if my teammates maybe stun them or something, then I cast a Unstable Affliction. And one of the most important things to increase your damage is to never let Agony fall off. I see a lot of Warlocks just letting it fall off. That should be your #1 priority when refreshing dots. If you're tab targeting or whatever, before you refresh UA, always refresh Agony if it's about to fall off. It'll give you a big damage increase if you keep that at 10 stacks. Other than that, you're not gonna get too many chances to cast Malefic Rapture. You're a Warlock, you're an Affliction Warlock, you're probably the most trained target in Arena. You're probably the most kicked target in Arena, so I wouldn't set my expectations too high to get too many Raptures off. That's why it is good to play Rapid Contagion. It's a good soul shard spender, excuse me, and it increases your damage by quite a bit. It's like a mini Dark Soul, so I would highly recommend playing that, and then you can get maybe a couple Raptures here and there if you're able to free cast or juke some kicks. Which brings me to the add-ons. So I will just go down the list. First one up is big debuffs. I highly recommend this add-on. What it does is it shows you, let's throw Corruption up on here, boom. Actually I have it set very small. You can easily go in and change that to make it much bigger. I don't really need this part of it. I can see it fine on my unit frames. So same thing for CCs. Not only do you see it here, but you have a big icon right there, and you can change the size of that. A very important part of this is that I see overlooked a bit is on your party frames. So let's say you're playing 3v3 and you have your healer right here. If you're playing and he gets CC'd, it will show up right here, and it will show an icon. Let's say they get polymorphed, a big polymorph icon will show up. It's actually not that big on the default, but I set it. You can just go in to big debuffs. You go to raid frames, and you increase the size, and it'll show you. That's not it. But if you have a if you're in a party and you have frames, it'll show you, and you can increase the size, and it'll make you much more aware of when your healer's in CC, and that lets you then you know when to play scared, when you have to port, when you have to wall or healthstone, and it'll boost your gameplay a lot, because I know for myself, before I was comfortable with this and I was paying attention to that, my gameplay was much worse, because I would just be taking big damage out of nowhere and not realize that my healer was CC'd. So once I did get comfortable with this, it definitely helped me a lot. So highly recommend big debuffs. Details, not mandatory, but I like it to show me my damage, my spells and abilities. Gladius, I'm sure most of you know, it's optional whether you use Gladius or S Arena. However, you should use one of them. I happen to use Gladius right now. I've used both, but currently I am using Gladius. This is it right here. So this is what my setup looks like in Arena. I have myself, my target, my focus target, and Gladius. And what this does, it shows me their trinkets and their DRs. Very important. I can't tell you how many times back in the day, before I paid attention to the DRs, I would try to fear a target just to end up getting a 1 second fear when I thought it was going to be full, because I didn't look at the DR. And if I did, I would have known, okay, I can wait 1 more second till it's off DR and get a full fear, and it would just mess me up a lot. So I would get very comfortable looking at the DRs in Arena, and it will help you out with CC very much. So let me get rid of that. Next up is Omnibar. Omnibar, if I would have to say, is the most important add-on out of all of these. And let me show you really quick what this does. If you don't know, it shows you from the default, I believe it just shows you the kicks. So it shows you the interrupts, counterspell, spell lock, kick, pummel, all the interrupts for all the classes. And when they get used, it will pop up here and it'll show you how long they have left till they get the spell back again. And this is very important so that you know when you can cast. It'll help you juke. You can start casting a spell and stop, and then it'll pop up here if they use their kick. Very useful. Not only that, but you can customize this, and actually you put up different spells here. So for example, I don't like to have it too cluttered, but I do have other important spells up here, like Bubble, Paladin Bubble. That way I don't have to ask my teammates, hey, do you know how long ago the Pally Bubble? Did he bubble? I always know right there. And other things like Rogue Blind. It's very useful. I highly recommend getting this add-on if you don't have that already. Next up, save queue, not mandatory. I just like it. Gets rid of when the queue pops for Arena, it gets rid of the leave Arena option, so you can only hit join battle. If you wanted to leave it, you could still right-click the circle and hit leave, but it's prevents you from accidentally hitting leave. After that, not important. Tell me when. This is a very fun add-on, and I definitely recommend it, although you don't absolutely need it. Let me show you what it does. So for example, you are able, with this add-on, put up any kind of spells, abilities, buffs, debuffs, or auras. For example, right here, I have Sacrifice, Blessing and Sacrifice. This way, when my Paladin healer uses Sac on me, I don't have to, in case I miss it on my buffs, I know immediately, because this is where my targets are, so I'm always looking right here. It'll pop up right here when I get it, and that way I know I don't have to overlap and use wall or Healthstone or Port. Before I got this, actually, I would find myself overlapping quite a bit more. So, meaning my paladin would pop sacrifice on me. I'm not taking any damage, but I don't realize it in time. So I accidentally use my wall, Healthstone, whatever, and it was for nothing. So this helps me a lot. Also, these spells right here, these are just spells, regular spells that I have keybinded over here. I just don't want to have to look over here. Like I said earlier, I want everything in my center screen right here, everything that I need. So I just put I have the keybinds here, but I have the tooltips right here so I can see the cooldowns. And only the ones that I have currently in my spec will show up here. So for example, I have Howl and Coil here, but it'll only show me the one that I'm using. So when I close out of it, I got Howl because that's the talent that I have up. Very, very useful. I'd highly recommend playing around with that. I think that covers it for add-ons. Yep, that's it for add-ons. So I can give you guys a few little tips here that I don't see every warlock using and taking advantage of, which are very important. So if you don't know, let me just start, because I know a lot of you may not do this, is juking. This is very, very important. My rating noticeably increased when I started practicing this and getting good at this. So obviously, juking is just starting to cast a spell, and you can do this quickly. You can, if the players are better, if you know they're gonna wait till it's try to prevent from getting juked, then you can go longer and stop further out. But the goal is to get them to kick you, and if you're using Omnibar, like I said you should, then you'll see it right here come up, their kick, and then you know that you're free to cast. Second of all, Soul Rot. If you are Night Fae, which I highly recommend, it is the best covenant to be PvP wise. If you're into class fantasy, if there's other ones that you prefer and you don't care about min-maxing, that's totally fine. You can go any covenant you want. However, if you are trying to maximize yourself in PvP, yeah, Night Fae is definitely the way to go. Soul Shape is just too good.
Big damage.
Soul Rot is also very good, and what I'm trying to show here is that this is on a nature tree. Therefore, if you cast this and get kicked, it's okay because that's nature. Everything else is shadow. Meaning you're able to cast anything else, everything else actually, if you get kicked on Soul Rot. Also, I just would like to go over conduits very fast. So for Affliction, I would highly recommend using Rolling Agony for your potency conduit. I know that there's a lot of other ones that look pretty nice. However, Rolling Agony seems to be the best one, at least in my opinion. I know a lot of other high rated warlocks are also running this. The reason for it is, as I said earlier, it's extremely important to never let your agonies fall off, or as little as possible, to keep them at 10 stacks for as long as possible, and this helps a lot with that. Also, since you don't have to reapply dots as much, it'll give you a lot of breathing room, so you'll have more time to cast Malefic Raptures, Drain Life, Fears, Kite, whatever you need to do. And it's a pretty good quality of life change. It helps you, it gives you a little bit more room to breathe. So highly recommend Rolling in Agony for your potency. For finesse, I use Shade of Terror. I believe this is the best one. I don't see how I could ever play without it. It lets your fears, it lets you do a lot more damage in your fears before they break. So without this talent, I have targets dotted, I howl them or fear them, and it breaks instantly basically. With this talent, I can howl them or fear them, and I have time to get a few casts off before it breaks, which is extremely nice. Very much value from that conduit. Now, I'm Naya currently. However, when Corraine unlocks, this is definitely going to be your best soulbind. Wild Hunt Tactics, extremely good. It increases your damage to all your targets that are above 75% health, and it also gives you a speed boost when you do that damage. It's very good. Also, Face Your Foes is decent. It decreases the damage that you take from your enemies that are facing you, but if a target is focusing you or doing damage to you, they're pretty much always going to be facing you, so it's pretty much like a 3% damage reduction. Very nice. So as soon as Corraine is unlocked, highly recommend you swap to Corraine. It's going to be your best bet. Next thing is Spell Reflection. So I see quite a bit of Warlocks. Why is this guy an assist? Come on, passive. I see quite a bit of Warlocks not really reacting correctly when they get a Warrior or Warlock pop Spell Reflect on them. Sometimes they'll just wait it out or even cast a Corruption or something and get it reflected just to get rid of the Spell Reflect. Never do that, guys. Two options you have. A, you could cast Drain Life, and even if you have Inevitable Demise stacks, it won't waste it, it'll just get rid of the Spell Reflect. Or a slightly even better way to do it without having to stop is to cast Curse of Weakness. Since this only applies to melee, you don't care about your swing times, attack speed, you can get this reflected to yourself, and it'll do nothing to you, and it'll get rid of the Spell Reflect. So, the spell's not totally useless. It will eat the Spell Reflect very well. Next thing I want to say is, I see a lot of Warlocks not utilizing Fel Domination. If you don't know, let me pull out a Fel Hunter here. If you don't know, you're able to, every 3 minutes when your Fel Dom is up, to get a second counter spell, a second spell lock. There's a specific way you have to do this. So, you have to start off with your pet sacrificed. You can use spell lock, and then immediately after, see it's on cooldown, I'm going to use my Fel Domination, get a pet, and use it again. So every 3 minutes when you have your Fel Dom up, you can do that, and then once you spell lock again, maybe use your Devour Magic, then you can go ahead and sack again. So it's a very useful trick. You can, if you miss your CS, or if you CS someone, maybe they'll think, okay, I can free cast, the Warlock uses his spell lock, and you go, nope, pull out your Fel Dom, and possibly win the game right there. So those are my few tips for you. I've been playing with destro recently, so as you may have seen in a couple of the clips, if you are interested in a destro guide or destro gameplay, Affliction gameplay, please let me know in the comments. If you would like a destro guide, the same as this Affliction one, I would also be willing to do that. Just let me know in the comments, and if you like the video, please leave a like. Feel free to subscribe. I'll be coming out with a lot more videos in the near future, and thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Pull for. I'm gonna call this mage, okay? Call the mage, Nice, kill this guy. Okay. 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 Fuck, so did I. Shit. That's okay. That's okay. Okay. Fearing Shadow. Trying to fear that Pyro, got it? I got nice and nice. Big damage on him. Big damage, dead anyway. I had a huge blow.